Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I am answering EchoCraft 5741's question, what if Grievous let the droids finish off Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith? So, Obi-Wan jumps down from his hiding spot and says, "Hello there." He takes out 4 Magna Guards, and then 100,000 droids are ready to shoot him. But Grievous is like, nah boy, I'm gonna do this on my own. And then he's like, actually, that's a bad idea. You know what? Shoot him. And the droids just unload thousands of bolts into Obi-Wan. He deflects a total of 70 blaster bolts, not because he has the skill to do so, but just because there were so many thousands of droids firing at him that some of them just happened to accidentally hit his lightsaber. Anyway, the clone army arrives and the battle begins. Because Grievous isn't distracted by Obi-Wan, he is able to oversee the strategy of the battle as well as participate. His losses are substantial, but he actually wins the battle for Utapau. Meanwhile, Anakin has gone off and done his, Jedi youngling incident, and Sidious's like, look, guys, I'm gonna let you finish this war, but I'm gonna be the Emperor when he's speaking to the Senate, right? Anakin takes out the Separatist Council now, and Grievous is like, I can't seem to make contact with the Separatist Council. I better call Darth Sidious and figure out what to do. And Sidious is like, General Grievous, I thought the Master Kenobi may have finished you off. Yes, well, go ahead and stand down. We're surrendering to the Republic. And Grievous says, no, that's not gonna fly. I'm gonna keep fighting this war. And Palpatine's like, no, you must stand down, General. And Grievous says, nope, not a chance, and hangs up. Now, at this time, Padme is just chilling in Coruscant. The reason she fled to Mustafar was because she was worried about Obi-Wan finding Anakin, but as of now, she doesn't know about the youngling incident or anything like that. So she just sits tight in the capital, has the babies, and is like, hey, little Luke and Leia, don't worry, your dad'll be home from work in a bit. Yoda ends up trying to attack Palpamil, but unfortunately fails in the attempt and runs off to Dagobah to cry about his defeat without really knowing anything about Luke and Leia. Anakin comes back and is like, hey, my wife had our kids. That's freaking sweet. I'm a dad. Hey, Emperor, I'm a dad. And Palps is like, that's great, Lord Vader. And Anakin says, you did it, Master. You saved my wife from passing away at childbirth. You brought peace to the galaxy. I'll be your devoted apprentice. The only thing I could ever change that is if I lost my wife and kids. So Palpatine is really kicking himself now for not figuring out how to remove Padme and the kids from the picture. But he knows he'll lose Anakin if he does, so there's nothing he can do about it. So Palpatine has this huge imperial coronation and this massive, feast. All of the most important people. He's loving himself. And then at the Senate, he is on cloud 9, but one of the senators is like, hey, my world just got taken over by General Grievous. He's conquered dozens of planets here. What's going on? You see, Grievous, after losing to Dooku and the Separatist Council and being told by Sidious to surrender, decided that he was going to take matters into his own hands. So he contacted the Separatist Parliament, which, yes, it's different from the Separatist Council. The politics are kind of wacky in the Separatist movement. And he says, I will win this war and secure the galaxy. And they're like, dope. We don't really want you to commit war crimes, but we maybe won't be keeping that strict of an eye on you, just in case you wanted to know. And Grievous says, great. And then, because the Separatist military has 1,000,000,000,000 droids, he starts moving out in mass. So Palpatine is freaking out. The clones are doing super well. Actually far better than they were under their Jedi commanders, because Jedi weren't trained as military officers so much as they were trained to be magical space ambassadors with laser swords. So the clones are doing great, but if you're outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1, then great just isn't gonna cut it. Palpatine calls Grievous, and Grievous says, oh man, not this loser. And he answers the phone, and Palpatine says, General, you've passed my test with flying colors. I wanted to make sure that you were resolved to complete this war, even if I told you not to. And Grievous just looks at the hologram of Palpatine with disgust for a few seconds, and then hangs up on him. About 5 seconds later, it rings again, and Grievous answers it, and Palpatine says, okay, I'm not gonna lie, you're doing an amazing job winning this war. And Grievous says, well, yeah, I have no idea why Dooku didn't just let me march our armies across every world in the galaxy. We literally have multiple assembly lines that can make 50,000 battle droids in a day. It takes 10 years to make a clone. And Palpatine says, oh, yes. Yes, apparently you should have been leading our forces all along. Anyway, I actually have some behind-the-scenes espionage stuff going on, and it would be just great if you kind of stop destroying the Republic for a bit while I get that sorted. And Grievous looks at the hologram in disgusted, silent judgment for a few seconds, and then reaches for the button to hang up the call. But Palpatine throws his arms out and says, wait, wait, wait! And Grievous pauses, and Palpatine says, you hate the Jedi, right? And Grievous says, yes. And Palpatine says, there's one Jedi left. I'll tell you where he is and you can go get him. And Grievous says, what Jedi? And Palpatine says, it's Anakin Skywalker. And Grievous's eyes widen and he says, where is Skywalker? And Palpatine says, he'll be on Alderaan in 5 days. And Grievous says, fine, I'll lay off my attack for 5 days. So the next day, Palpatine is like, Lord Vader, can you go to Alderaan and, I don't know, tell Bail Organa that he's a jerk and he needs to fall in line with this whole Empire thing? And Vader's like, sure thing, Master. So he goes to Alderaan, and just as him and Bail are sitting down to eat, the sky is flooded with spaceships, and 100 million droids touch down on Alderaan. There are like 50 droids for every individual person. Someone rushes in to tell Bail about the terrible news that's going on outside and hands him a tablet to watch. And Grievous is giving a message saying, Anakin Skywalker, I'll be in the Organa estate throne room. Meet me there. So Anakin looks at Bail and says, where's the throne room? And Bail says, well, it's that door right behind you. So Anakin walks over to the door, opens it up, and says, Grievous! But of course Grievous isn't there yet. He didn't realize that Anakin was going to be in Bail's house. So Anakin kind of sits down in the throne, and after about 3 minutes, he hears Grievous walking up, yelling at his subordinates about how cool it's going to be when Anakin walks in and sees him sitting in the throne. And then Grievous kicks the door in and sees Anakin sitting in the throne. And Anakin says, General Grievous, I've been expecting you. And Grievous is freaking mad. Like, the fury building in him is almost palpable. And he whispers to himself, that was so freaking cool. Then he steps forward and says, it's time for me to defeat you, Skywalker. And Anakin says, don't call me that anymore. Now I'm Darth Vader. And Grievous says, Darth? Are you working for Darth Sidious? And Anakin says, yeah, how do you know about Darth Sidious? And Grievous says, he masterminded the entire war. And Anakin says, Palpatine masterminded the entire war? To which Grievous says, Palpatine is Sidious? No way, man. So Anakin says, hold on a second. We gotta talk. Let's go next door and have a seat. So the two warriors go back to the dining room just as Bail is finishing up his cake and tea that he was having for dessert, and they get to talking. They realize that Palpatine has been playing them both, and Anakin says after a few minutes of conversation, well, man, this has really been enlightening, but I'm kinda too far gone. I can't really redeem myself after that whole child slaughter thing, and plus you kind of ended the life of my master, so while I appreciate the information, I'm still just going to have to end you. So Grievous says, not if I finish you first. And he jumps up and whips out all 4 lightsabers, and Anakin just kind of shoots him with Force Lightning because Palpatine taught him how to do that in the 5 days that Grievous had to wait to meet Anakin. Grievous is totally defeated, didn't realizing that he could have just blocked the lightning with his lightsabers. So Palpatine rules the galaxy. Padme is just always miserable and complaining about how bad it is that they don't have democracy and blah, blah, blah. And Anakin lives his best life ever. Well, that is my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I would be very grateful if you would support the channel by sharing this video, showing my channel to your friends, and that sort of thing. If you would like to help me out by becoming a member of the channel, you can click the join button below, or you could support me on Patreon, link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.